Right, here we go. Lesson 14, video 2. And as you can see, we already have a problem on the screen, 6 divided by 3. So what does the 6 represent in this division problem? It's the total, right? So if we were to make a tape diagram, which of course we will, right? Our total is 6. So when we show what is this whole tape diagram, this is 6. And what does the 3 represent? The number of groups. So we're going to have 3 groups. So we're taking 6, we're making it into 3 groups. We know that when we divide, we're finding an unknown factor. So when the divisor represents the number of groups, we can think 6 is 3 groups of what, right? Or 6 is equal to 3 times what? Okay, so 6 is 3 groups of what? And what would the quotient be? The quotient would be 2, right? Because I could type it. I'll just go ahead and write it. Because 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 divided by 3 is 2, and that would mean 2 would fit into each of these boxes. We interpreted the expression 6 divided by 3 as 6 is 3 groups of what? We divided 6 into 3 equal groups and found that 6 is 3 groups of 2. Yes, we can use this same thinking to interpret a division expression with a unit fraction divided by a whole number. All right, so let's try. Let's just move this up a little bit, and let's think about 1/2 divided by 3. All right, and we're thinking 1/2 is 3 groups of what? Just like we were thinking 6 is 3 groups of what? All right, so let's make a tape diagram. And we like to use a number line under our tape diagram to help show how many parts it is, right? That's why we're using it down there to help us with our fractional parts. So 1/2, this is going to be 0, and this is going to be 1/2, because we see that our total, our first number, is 1/2. So this whole amount is 1/2, and we can see it right there on the tape diagram. 1/2 is 3 groups of what? So we could also think about our multiplication equation. 1/2 is equal to 3 times what? So when we divide 1/2 into 3 equal groups, how much is going to be in each group? And is that reasonable? So let's see. If we break it into 3 groups, then we're going to have 2 lines, 3 parts. And then because we want to have the whole amount, we will also continue here with our 3 parts. And we can see that we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So this would be 1/6. And this would be 2/6. And 1/2 is the same as 3/6. So if we break our tape diagram into 3 parts, we can see that our first part would be 1/6, right? So 3 parts, each would be 1/6. So our quotient, our answer is, oops, sorry, that wasn't good. Our quotient, our answer is 1/6. Yeah, I was thinking it was so cool that I could write on it up there. Then I went ahead and clicked one of my tabs by accident. So 3 times 1/6 is equal to 1/2. 1/6, 1/6, 1/6 is equal to 1/2. 3 of those, and it is reasonable because 3 times 1/6 equals 1/2. When we divide, we can use the relationship between multiplication and division to better understand what the numbers mean and make sure the answer is reasonable. Okay, so let's look at number 2 in your book. Remembering the work that we did here, 6 divided by 3 is 2, so 1/2 divided by 3 is 1/6. Asking the question, blank is blank groups of what? 1/2 is 3 groups of what? 6 is 3 groups of what? Right? Okay, so let's look at number 2 in your book. All right, Lacey and Adesh each get one. Oh, sorry, that's number 3. Number 2, Mr. Perez has 1/4 gallon of water. He pours the water equally into 4 bottles. How much water is in each bottle? All right, so let's think about that problem a little bit. We have a tape diagram. What do you notice about how it's labeled and partitioned? Do you see the 1/4? Because he has 1/4 of a gallon of water. So this is just the 1/4 of a gallon, and we have 4 bottles, so it's showing us the 4 equal parts. Okay? What does the problem ask? How much water is in each bottle? Okay? So what expression represents the water in each bottle? 1/4 divided by 4, right? You see how we're taking 1/4 and we're dividing it by 4? We can interpret this as 1/4 is 4 groups of what? Okay? And looking at the tape diagram, we know that there's less than 1/4 of a gallon because it's broken into 4 parts. Can we tell the value by looking at just the tape diagram? What could we do to help us with that? Could we extend our tape diagram? We could also write a number line underneath, but let's try extending our tape diagram. So that's 1/4. Sorry for the overlap there. This is going to be 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. Yes, I know it's not perfect, but we just do the best we can, especially when we're just drawing. And we're going to break those fourths into 4 parts. Basically, we're just repeating what we have here. So we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, and each of those fourths are broken into 4 parts because if you remember from our problem, he's taking 1/4 of a gallon and pouring it into 4 bottles. So this is now an entire gallon, right? And do we know how much each of these pieces would be? If this is an entire gallon, how many parts do we see? 4 times 4 is 16. So one of them would be 1/16 of a gallon. Okay, so make sure you write that down in your book. 1/16 of a gallon is how much each one represents. And does it make sense that it's smaller than the number that we're dividing by? Yes, that's fine. And because we're just taking a small piece of it. All right, excellent job. I'll see you in the next video. Aloha.